Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. Again, my name is Mark Hoff. Miss Amy Shields is with us from Eastern. We'll get to her shortly into the presentation. Today is an overview of our 2026-2027 school year course selection. This presentation is designed for students who are going into grades 10, 11, and 12 next year. The overview that we're going to go through this evening, I'm going to quickly go over the credit requirements. I'm going to talk about Panther paths, which is something new. Then going to focus on grade 10 for a moment. We're then going to have the presentation from Ms. Shields and dual enrollment, grade 11 and 12. We have a few new courses, an AP capstone diploma, which is now available to our students, a project-based learning review for 10 and 11, a quick note on Act 158 requirements, show who our counselors are, show the scheduling timeline, and then additional resources for you to use. So as a review, this is now active for all students, classes of 2027, 28, and 29. Students need to have 4 credits of English, 4 credits of math, 4 credits of science, 4 social studies, with one of them being government. Science, one of those needs to be biology. They need at least 1 credit of world language, 1 credit of physical education, which is 2 classes, a health class, financial literacy, which is a new requirement, and that's effective for the juniors. So our graduating seniors next year will need to pass financial literacy, and then 9 elective credits for a total of 28. Students have the ability to get 32 credits, 8 credits a year, and they need to have 28 to graduate. I want to show this. We're not going to go into depth with it because this is brand new, and it's really focused more for our current 8th graders. But one of the things is we've been reviewing how we look at courses and structures at Cheltenham High School is that we've wanted to provide students more of a direction as they look at all of the different classes that we have. And so we've come up with Panther Paths. And this is going to build on our K-12 curriculum and allow students to kind of focus their last few years of their academic career here in Cheltenham on a specific path. And so reading from the side, Panther paths are dispositions, ways students might think or prefer to learn. Instead of putting students in a single path for all or driving students to choose their career at the age of 14, we are aiming to help students and families consider classes based on ways of learning in areas of interest. Be on the lookout for an update to the website and communication in the coming weeks with more information and resources, including how students can think about it. Again, this is very much kind of tailored towards the current 8th graders right now, but you're going to see if you're a current 9th grader or 9th grade family, you're going to see these pieces come into focus. And I'm going to talk about this as we look further, because what I want you to take away from this right now is that we want you to be looking at your students' experience individually. We want you to be looking at the different offerings we have and say, well, I really am interested in this. How could I work this into our program? What requirement might this fill? And so in the past where we might say, for instance, all students need to take chemistry. Now when we get to science, I'm going to say, well, in 10th grade, all students should take a lab science, and that could be chemistry or physics. And those ors are things that we want students to explore. And even though we may not have them fully fleshed out at this point, if you have an idea, it's something we definitely want you talking to your counselor about to see if it's something that we can work into your academic program moving forward. So grade 10, and I want to do this before the Eastern one because this is what the setup is for students going into Eastern, because the Eastern is a grade 11 and 12 program. In grade 10, all students will take English 10, either English 10 or English 10 honors. That is a keystone class. So that one, when we talk about negotiable, not negotiable, that one's not negotiable. Math, on the other hand, that's based on where a student currently is coming into 10th grade. That could be geometry, that could be algebra 2, that could be pre-calc. For some cases, it might be a class like financial algebra or a class called data literacy. I mentioned the science. We are going to very actively challenge students to think about, well, is chem the lab science I want to be doing, or is physics the lab science I want to be doing? We also, for the first time, are going to offer AP Chemistry as an option for 10th graders, because we are also going to offer AP Physics 1 as an option for 10th graders. Students will be able to take chemistry honors or AP chemistry, or physics or AP Physics 1. There isn't an honors physics because there would have been a lot of redundancy between that course and the AP Physics 1. In social studies, it's US History 2, on level or honors. Health is usually taken in 10th grade. You'll see it preset in our scheduling matrix in PowerSchool. It can be removed when talking to a counselor, but almost all of our students do take health in 10th grade. And if a student hasn't taken world language yet, this is the year they typically take it. That we have a lot of students who are continuing their world language from Cedarbrook and are taking it in 9th grade. This adds up to being 5.5 credits. You need 2.5 more credits to get to 8 for 10th grade. And so that's for the class of 2029. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Shields.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Hoff, for having me tonight. My name is Amy Shields, and I'm the Marketing Recruitment Coordinator for the Eastern Center for Arts and Technology. And we are the Career and Technical High School for 11th and 12th graders in Eastern Montgomery County. So that's not just Cheltenham, it's Abington, Springfield, Harper Horsham, Upper Dublin, Jenkintown, Lower Moreland, Upper Moreland, and even if they live in Eastern Montgomery County and attend the local parochial schools. So we are, again, part of the 9 participating high schools in Eastern Montgomery County. So we like our students to think of us as the career and technical wing of Cheltenham. We're just located across the street from Upper Moreland High School in Willow Grove on Turwood Road. And our programs run half day. So half the day they'd be at Cheltenham doing their math and their science and their history, and the other half of the day they'd be with us at Eastern doing something that is career related, or getting them ready for a specific college program. So our programs run from 7:45 to 10:30 a.m. and noon to 2:45 p.m. And we work closely with the guidance department at Cheltenham to figure out which schedule would work best for your student. I just want to quickly go through the 17 programs that we offer. All of our programs are 2 years in length, so it's your junior year and your senior year, with the exception of Allied Health. Allied Health is a 1 year seniors only program for students who are interested in pursuing post secondary in a healthcare field. A lot of people ask me, oh, is that a pre-nursing program? It's not necessarily, it's more a pre-healthcare field program. They even get to shadow healthcare professionals at Christ Home Senior Services in Warminster. They make trips over to Abington Hospital and even CHOP in King of Prussia. Automotive technology, that is what I consider the inside of the car. So that's the engine, the brakes, the wiring, the computer system, steering, suspension. Business and technology professional, that's if you're interested in pursuing, maybe you want to work in an office environment. Your student wants to work in an office environment. Maybe they want to do business administration in college. Maybe they are entrepreneurial and see themselves opening their own business someday. This would be a really good program for them. Collision repair technology, I talked about automotive. Now, collision is the outside of the car. That's where students learn to pull out a dent on a car, repaint it, refinish it, detail it, buff it out. That's kind of the other side of it. And a lot of people say, like, oh, it's not one program. They're two completely different programs. Our next one is carpentry, and you may have heard of it discussed as construction technology. We just changed the name this year, because that's really what it is, carpentry. It's working with wood, it's learning to build, working with all of the materials that you would use on a construction site. Then we have construction careers and management. That is a brand new program for 26, 27. So as soon as this school year ends, we're starting building for that. We're going to create that program. We're already going to, at the end of this school year, be interviewing for teachers. And what is so great about that program is that students won't have to choose if they're stuck between, do I want to do carpentry? Do I want to do electrical? Do I want to do HVAC? Do I want to do plumbing? Do I want to do masonry? It's all kind of included. It's the basics of all of those areas, as well as project management. So we're really hoping that the wait list that we've really been dealing with for the last couple years for the construction technology programs kind of like lets up, because this is going to be a really good opportunity for students and add more students to our school. So we're really excited about that. Then we have cosmetology, which is hair, nails, skincare, and an element of makeup. Culinary arts, which is cooking, baking, nutrition, catering, front of the house, back of the house, food safety. So that's culinary arts. Design, photography, and illustration is exactly what it sounds like. It's graphic design. illustration, and photography. And the whole point of that program is for our students to build a really nice professional portfolio of their best work that they can take with them to a college review because art schools are so popular and so hard to get into. And we definitely want to be able to help our students. Then we have electrical technology, which is the first step if you're interested in becoming a commercial or a residential electrician. Exercise science and rehabilitation is one of our newer programs, and that is physical therapy, occupational therapy, and personal fitness training. Really, really popular with our student athletes, especially if they have been injured. They understand how important it is to really follow the regimen that that physical therapist gives you to bring you back up to 100%. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Listen, that's who we're paying a ton of money to right now when our heater breaks, or a ton of money to in August when our air conditioner breaks. Really in demand, high paying field, not going away. Networking and cybersecurity. I always say to the students, if you're the one in your family who everyone comes to when there's some kind of issue with their laptop or their phone, you're kind of technology, savvy. Maybe this would be a good program for you because, every organization, every business, every school has a network administrator, and that is the person that makes sure that the computers are talking to the printers, that the computers are working. And the cybersecurity element is so important because we all want to keep our personal and financial information safe online. So that has actually been growing in popularity as well. Protective services, that is police, fire, security, and EMT. Robotics and automated technology, that's working with electronics, robotic devices. It's the very first program you see when you walk into Eastern, and you see these robotic arms that our students program and troubleshoot to pick things up and place them where they need to be, like you'd see in a manufacturing environment. There's also some 3D printing in that program as well. Then we have veterinary science. If your child loves animals, is always taking care of animals, ours is a small animal science program. So it's mainly dogs, cats, and rodents, but they do learn about larger animals, even aquatic animals. We actually have a 32-year-old turtle named Amanda at Eastern, which is kind of our unofficial mascot. So they do learn a great deal about animals, taking care of animals, making sure that they are being safe, working with the animals. There's a lot to it. A lot of good information in that program. Very popular with our students. And then our last program, our 17th program, is welding technology. And that is, a lot of people have said to me, I've been at Eastern a really long time, and a lot of people have asked me, what is the most popular program at Eastern? And over my time, it has definitely changed, but over the last 5 years, I can confidently tell you that it's welding technology. Our teacher is amazing. She's a certified welding inspector, so our students can actually leave with their D11 in structural steel. She also has an artistic background, so she throws what I like to call flair into a lot of her projects. For example, one year our culinary arts program was getting rid of their cutlery and getting new cutlery, and she took it and she had the students weld fireflies. So she kind of throws an artistic touch into it, which is pretty cool. So another real benefit of attending Eastern is that your student, if they grew up in Cheltenham, that's who they know, that's their friends. It really kind of gives them the opportunity to branch out and meet new people from all over Eastern Montgomery County that share the same interests as them. Another benefit, a really important benefit, if you ask me, is our co-op or paid internship experience, which many of our seniors, halfway through their senior year, if they have good grades and good attendance, because remember, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes at Eastern every day, Monday through Friday. If their attendance is good and their grades are good, they can go out and actually work in their field 4 out of 5 days a week, earning money, earning the high school credits that they need to graduate, and making those job contacts, which can parlay into full-time jobs after school. One thing I really want to stress to you all today, because I know there's an antiquated kind of stereotype of career and technical education where it's like, oh, you can't go to college if you go to tech school. And I'm here to tell you tonight that that is not true. It's not an either or situation. Last year, more than 60% of our students went on to some form of post-secondary education, whether it was 4-year, 2-year, or a certificate program. And many of them went with college credits earned through our programs at Eastern. There's two basic ways that our students can earn college credits through Eastern. The first is what we call articulation agreements, and that's agreements with colleges and universities that either Eastern sets up or the state sets up, and they consider the work that we do at Eastern college level. So your child would be able to skip some intro courses at that particular school, saving you a little money and saving them a little bit of time. On this slide, I just put a few, but if you check out our website, www.easttech.org, eastech.org, under current students, I have all of them listed out. But here is just Bucks County, Thaddeus Stevens, Penn College of Technology, Harcum, PCAD, University of Northwestern Ohio, and Kutztown, just to name a few. The second way that you can earn college credits at Eastern is through our dual credit programs we currently have with Montgomery County Community College and Penn College of Technology. So for Monco, 3 of our programs are dually enrolled. Our 1-year allied health students, they can get 6 college credits. Our business and technology professional students, over their 2 years, they can get 9 credits. And our networking and cybersecurity students, over their 2 years, they can get 12 credits, which is essentially an entire year, I'm sorry, an entire semester of college that puts them ahead. And then our brand new dual credit opportunity with Penn College of Technology, we have that with 5 of our programs: electrical technology, design, photography, and illustration, welding technology, culinary arts, and collision repair technology. Another great benefit of attending Eastern is the professional industry standard certifications that you get with every single one of our programs. It's kind of a point of pride for Eastern that every one of our programs, our students leave with at least one industry standard certification. I just have a few here. Our cosmetology students, they get the 1,250 class hours that they need to sit for their State Board of Cosmetology exam in Pennsylvania, so they can actually leave as a licensed cosmetologist should they complete the hours. Our exercise science, our allied health, and our protective services, they get CPR and first aid. Our culinary arts students, they get Serve Safe certification, which means they understand the importance of kitchen sanitation and how important it is to follow safety practices when working with food. SP2, our safety and pollution prevention, we have that in collision, we have that in automotive, we have that in several of our programs. Our design, photography, and illustration, they get the Adobe Certified Associate in Photoshop, illustration, and InDesign. So every single one of our programs has something. The next few slides here just show some of the colleges and universities where our students have continued their education, such as Penn College of Technology, LaSalle, Art Institute of Philadelphia, Moore College of Art and Design, Drexel, Kutztown, Westchester, Johnson & Wales, Gwynedd Mercy, Penn State, LaSalle, Millersville, IUP, Pennsylvania College of Art and Design, Temple, Delaware State University, and Automotive Training Center, which is just right up here in Warminster. And then we're really lucky to have such good community colleges in our area, such as Montco, Bucks County, and Community College of Philadelphia. We also have a student leadership organization at Eastern that's set up very much like a student council would be. I just want to talk really quickly about Skills USA. Not everyone has to be an officer or a representative. Everyone can be involved in our student leadership organization by competing with other career and technical students from other career and technical high schools. And it's really cool because it's friendly competition for awards, for medals, for scholarships, and for tools of their trade. We also raise money every year for a specific charity, and this year's charity is Habitat for Humanity. We also have a student of the month selected at Eastern every month. I just have two listed here. This is Amira Banks from Exercise Science and Rehabilitation in Cheltenham High School. She is awesome. She helps me so much with various recruitment events. And she's going to pursue a 6-year Doctor of Physical Therapy program. As an athlete, she wants to work with other athletes, young athletes. And this is Lelia Johnson from Robotics and Automated Technology. Fun fact, her sister was also a student of the month, probably in 2017, 2018. So that's pretty cool. She's from our Robotics and Automated Technology program. She loves the program. She's an amazing representative for the program. She's actually going to go to the Aviation Institute of Maintenance. But she feels as though everything she's learned in the robotics program is transferable to aviation. And she is just an amazing example of what you can accomplish at Eastern. So, lastly, I'd just like to invite anyone. Although I said our programs are for 11th and 12th grade students, I feel like it's never too early to come visit Eastern and check it out. We do have an open house. You don't need to pre-register. It's Sunday, March 1st from 1 to 3 p.m. All of our teachers are there. I'm there greeting people, so please say hi to me. Um, all of our teachers are there. Students are there. You guys can walk through the programs, check them out. I personally myself have two sons that are in 10th grade. I've been dragging them to open houses for years. It's just to kind of get them thinking, even if they didn't go to Eastern, it gets them thinking about a career path. So I hope to see you there Sunday, March 1st. And I believe Mr. Hoff is going to share my email address with you all at the end. And please, please contact me if you need anything. If this presentation brought up any questions, I'm happy to help.
Thank you, Amy. Very much appreciate your time this evening. There's a couple
Of
things that
course.
I want to emphasize from the Cheltenham perspective, and note that I have taught both of those Student of the Month students, and they were wonderful students to have in class. Um, when you see the course guide at the end, which is actually currently available on the high school website if you want to go to it right now, I do want to reference page 108 and 109. It's going to give the explicit instructions for applying to Eastern. I have to emphasize that it is an application and it is not a guaranteed placement. There's also a specific timeline that must be followed because we need to identify all the students that are interested. They need to have a site visit at Eastern. They need to submit a written application and an essay. That all needs to be reviewed, and we need to get that all turned around in the next few months. So there's a very specific timeline in the course guide. It does need to be followed. And I need to emphasize again, it's an application, not a guaranteed placement. Which is why I wanted to come back to this grade 10 slide at the moment. This is what we saw before the Eastern presentation by Ms. Shields. If a student is like, I really think I want to go to Eastern as a ninth grader, so we're going to 10th grade next year, there are things that you should talk to your counselor about because it would be good to have another science class or good to have a second math class. Or have a second social studies class in your 10th grade schedule because it makes Eastern work better. Because that 2.5 credits that's at the bottom of the screen, Eastern is 4 elective credits in your junior year and your senior year. That's 8 of the 28 credits you need to graduate. If we haven't gotten the mix of core classes quite right, some students run into some issues that might require an additional class that need to be taken through the summer or something to make it all work. Because believe me, I am a huge proponent of Eastern, and those extra steps are sometimes worth it. But there are things we can do 10th grade year if a student's like, yeah, I really think I want to go to Eastern. And if a student doesn't end up going to Eastern, it doesn't hurt them that they've taken a math class earlier, or social studies class earlier, or science, or 2 of those early. It allows them more flexibility their senior year, which I'll talk about in a minute. So if Eastern is on your mind and you are currently a ninth grader, or you're currently a 10th grader, and we're about to start the second semester, and you want to review your second semester schedule, and you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to go to Eastern next year, and I have a lot of electives this spring, that's something we can work on right now to get another math or science or social studies class into your schedule right now for the spring that'll help you down the road. That also brings me to something else that brings flexibility and is enhancing our program. So students can complete, just as they can at Eastern, dual enrollment at Cheltenham High School. And that's dual enrollment through other universities. We don't offer any direct dual enrollment classes at the high school. This year, we have over 70 students who are taking at least one DE class. That is double the number of students that we had last year. And I expect that number to continue to grow as students think about those paths, think about the flexibility that they can have in their programming. Most of our students are taking those classes through Monco, and most of those students are taking them online. And so what we do in our schedules, we basically give students an old-fashioned study hall. They're working out of the library most of the time, and that provides them the class time in their schedule to work on their dual enrollment class or dual enrollment classes. We have a couple students in the building who are not attending main campus Cheltenham High School right now because they're doing a full college schedule as a senior. If you were to do it through Monco, it's $230 right now is that cost. That is a third of the cost of a Monco class, starting at the age of 15. And this is a discussion point we've not really talked about yet, but Monco's recently solidified this. We can have sophomores doing dual enrollment. So if you're a strong student, if you have a strong student in your family, you can start taking classes through Monco at the age of 15. Arcadia and LaSalle and Penn State, Abington have different requirements, and you can explore those too. It does not need to be Monco, but most of our students are looking at the Monco programming right now. And I do want to note that Cheltenham School District does reimburse one dual enrollment class a year, September to June, so not during the summer, at the Monco rate. So if you go to Arcadia and take a class, those classes are more expensive than Monco. The school district will reimburse $230 if a student gets an A, B, or a C in that course. And I just want to come back to this point of emphasis in terms of who's doing dual enrollment. For our time working with dual enrollment students, it's been almost exclusively seniors forever. A sophomore or a junior can absolutely take DE courses if one of our partner schools allow you to do it. DE courses are always cheaper than courses after a student graduates. Again, Monco is a third of the price as a dual enrollment student. And I do want to note if you have students who are seniors right now in your family, that goes through the summer before they become, college students. And so even this summer, students could take advantage of that $230 rate. If a student is really motivated and they start in their sophomore year, it is possible to get that 60 or so credits necessary to have an associate's degree, if that is something that a student wants to do. And we can set up a program that helps a student do that, earning Cheltenham credits at the same time that they're earning credits at a different university or college. So dual enrollment's there. It's a thing. We're going to have a separate presentation for students in February. We're going to ask students when they're registering to tell us what type of dual enrollment class they're interested in. For instance, one of the things we saw a spike in this year is a number of students taking their English requirement, their senior year English requirement, through dual enrollment. And so we're going to ask students to say, yes, I want to do dual enrollment in this type of class in the registration process, because it's going to help our counselors have a conversation with students about what their year will look like. So with that, grade 11. So grade 11, again, English 11, English is every year. Students need to take it every year. So English 11 on level or honors. Math, again, is going to be varied. We add calculus into the mix. We also have probability and stat will often appear for juniors. Science, it's all over the place, including our new environmental engineering class. One of the things that doesn't impact anybody directly on this webinar at the moment, but starting next year, the new science class for ninth graders is actually going to be environmental science. Biology is going to move to 10th grade. And so we're introducing a second environmental science class, environmental engineering. We're going to ask all upperclassmen to sign up for that class. We're then going to review the roster and see if there's anybody who'd be more appropriate for the starter environmental science class. We think that's just going to be few and far between, but we're going to ask everybody to sign up for the environmental engineering who is not a ninth grader, and then we're going to work with students individually as needed. In social studies, the course is world history or world history honors. I do want to note in social studies, both in 10th grade and 11th grade, an AP class can be used to substitute that. Same thing in 11th grade. An AP English class, it could be composition. And this year we are going to let students take literature instead of composition if that's the AP class they want to take. Again, we're really trying to think differently in terms of these, the optionality for students. Financial literacy, now a graduation requirement, junior or senior year. Government, again, junior or senior year. We want students closer to their graduation taking these classes that, really impact, the financial decisions people make and the ways in which people interact with their government. And if students didn't take that a second physical education class in 10th grade, it typically happens in 11th grade. That's another thing with Eastern. If you haven't taken, if you're thinking about it, getting that second PE class in before getting to 11th grade is a help. 12th grade, and you'll see this screen is different because our 12th grade experience is so different. The only thing that is constant really is English 12. So again, English 12, English 12 honors, or AP Lit Comp, or AP Literature. So those are that. But as I said a few moments ago, we also had a lot of students fulfilling that requirement through dual enrollment. We are requiring seniors to have 3 classes in the fall and 3 classes in the spring. That's out of 4. So we're building into the program the opportunity for students who are on track to graduate to have either a late arrival or an early dismissal. We're also, if students have done everything that they need to do, for the most part, they've got some credit freedom their senior year. We're very excited about the students that do dual enrollment. We're very excited that we have approximately 25 students this year who are doing a new senior internship. The senior internship is going to continue next year. And that's it's a program that has a class in the fall every other day to kind of introduce some workplace concepts and do some inquiry things in terms of the type of experiences that you might want to do during the internship. It's providing us the time to find the internship. And then in the spring, students are going to have a credit release. If they complete 120 hours, they get a credit on their transcript to go out and do an internship. Most of these are unpaid, and they tend to be in fields where it's very hard for a 17, 18-year-old to get a job. So that's new. We're working through that right now with our first cohort, and we're very excited to continue that next year. Diversified Occupations is a program like you would find at Eastern. It is a CTE program. It is a program that helps students get a paid job, and they get credit for that job. They have about 6 to 8 weeks worth of class time every day for about 2.5 hours, up until about mid-October, preparing to go work and completing certifications like you saw with the Eastern presentation. And then they meet once a week for the rest of the school year. So 4 days a week, they're available to work. They need to work a minimum of 15 hours during the week at a paid job. One of the things that we've discovered is that fewer and fewer students are necessarily having paid jobs before they're hitting their upper teenage years. So we have a broad range of students who are in our diversified occupations program. Those students take classes for the first 2 periods of the day. Then they have the diversified occupations periods 3 and 4. And so for a large chunk of the year, their academic day ends after period 2. That dual enrollment can happen anywhere in a schedule. We do have students that walk over to Arcadia, and we try to fit those in the schedule. An in-person class is more difficult to work with, but we try to work hand in hand with every student who wants an in-person experience because we value them greatly, to get that to work with what we're doing at the high school. And then I mentioned the late arrival or early dismissal. Students do not have both because, again, students can take 4 credits in the fall and 4 credits in the spring. That's what we have our freshmen, sophomores, and juniors do. Seniors can take 3 in the fall and 3 in the spring, and that's where the late arrival or early dismissal come from. I mentioned the environmental engineering class that's going to focus on policy and climate change are 2 major tenets of that course. It's also going to be more project oriented. We're introducing environmental science honors because environmental science is now a 9th grade course. Radio broadcasting is a course that was actually brought to the school board by students, and we're very excited to offer it next year. It's going to look at the science of radio and how how you build things and to transmit. And then it's going to actually run, live radio programming. So we're very excited to see what happens with that course. And then lastly, we're adding AP Research, which is the class that you take after AP Seminar, which brings us to the AP Capstone program. We this year have a small group of students taking AP Seminar in 9th grade. Next year, it is open to all students in grades 10 and 11. AP Seminar is a course in which students are kind of getting experiences and presentations and research, both individual and group. It's very centered on topics that students want to pick and explore. And there's a whole series of tasks the students need to complete, and the exam is a mix of performance items and like multiple choice. After students complete that, they then have AP Research, which is a course that students really dig into a research topic. And there isn't actually a test, it's a submission to College Board, like we see with some of our AP courses. And that is a course that's designed to be taken after AP Seminar. And so AP has developed this AP Capstone Diploma. If a student successfully completes seminar and research with a score of a 3 or 4 or 5, and then take 4 additional AP courses with a 3, 4, or 5, and we have, when I presented to this board, we had over 90 students. If this had applied to last year's graduating class, and they had done both AP Seminar and AP Research, we would have had 90 students, open to getting this diploma. So this is definitely an achievable thing for our students if they start planning on that, even starting in their ninth grade year. Lastly, I want to come back to PBL, which we've had in our school district for over a decade. We've done some changes to the program in 10th and 11th grade. It is a program that you can enter into as a 10th grader or an 11th grader. So I just want to highlight it here. It is a space in which we are looking for students to collaborate. We're looking for them to use design thinking. We're looking at them to see a problem and talk about how we solve it. So how do we solve complex problems? How do we work effectively with others? How do we think critically and independently? How do we manage our time in that kind of like project management mode? And how do we communicate our ideas clearly? And so what we've done is we've kind of streamlined PBL 10 and PBL 11. They're both going to be humanities courses next year, and they're going to both be one block all year long. So the 10th grade PBL cohort is going to look at English 10 and world history. They're going to do 2 to 3 large scale projects along with the academic content that they need to be successful in the Keystone Literature exam and to fulfill the standards in world history. Same thing with 11th grade, English 11, and then US History 2. I do want to note that they're flipped. The histories are flipped from the way that most of our students go through our social studies programming, and that's so that it can be linked with the English class. And I'm very excited about what the 11th grade groups are doing because we have so much local American history here in Cheltenham Township. It provides us a lot of opportunities to get students out in the field. For instance, our PBL 11 cohorts actually, their culminating project this year is a murder mystery theater presentation at Linwood Hall. So we're very excited to be partnering with Linwood Hall to bring this opportunity for our students and to highlight the preservation work that they're doing at Linwood Hall. So again, PBL is there. You can enter it as a 10th grader. You can enter it as an 11th grader. It's the class runs all year long during one block, and the content is intermixed as teachers work through the program. As we wind down here, I do want to note that we do have, and this is why we use paths and pathways, and they get all kinds of fun, but the state has graduation pathways. Students, as they progress through our courses, do take Keystone exams in biology, literature, and Algebra 1. If students get proficient or advanced in those, that fulfills this graduation requirement. There's also a way to fulfill the graduation requirement by getting a total score on those 3 exams. You also have a way to do it if you get your CTE concentration. So if you attend Eastern and hit certain marks, or you do our diversified occupations. And then there are other pieces through alternative assessments and evidence-based pathways. Students will work with our guidance department as they go through the years to determine which pathway works for them and to make sure everything's in line for their graduation when that comes up in the right June year. Apparently my file does not exist, so I apologize for that. Let me just recenter this. I apologize for the delay. Let me refresh. Gonna try open it again and see if that works. I appreciate your patience. Okay, so the last couple of slides, I'm gonna leave this up on the screen for a moment. If you do not know who your child's guidance counselor is, it is most likely Mr. DePiro, Dr. Trendor, or Ms. Vargas. 10 through 12, and the last name letters there. We did switch to a model this year in which we have a 9th grade counselor, and then Ms. Martin's our department chair who works on a variety of things and has a small caseload additionally. So these are going to be the main contacts, Mr. DePiro, Dr. Trendor, and Ms. Vargas. Your student will be meeting with the guidance counselor somewhere between, early-ish to mid-February to mid-March, to review their course selection. So on that timeline, next week the portal is going to open. There's going to be a presentation in Stratton Hall, run by Mrs. Martin and myself, in which we're going to go through key things for each class. Students are going to have about a week and a half to think about the course selections, talk to family members, talk to other teachers, talk through things. And then on February 5th, in an extended homeroom, students are going to officially make sure that their stuff's in PowerSchool. They can do this at home, they can do it before then, but we're going to have a check-in homeroom on February 5th to make sure that those requests are in there. And then starting the following Monday, guidance counselors are going to start going through those requests and meeting with students and making sure it all works on what, thinking about the goals students have towards their graduation. Between there, we're going to, that application for Eastern is due February 16th. So it's a quick turnaround on that application so that we can start the review process for that and work with Eastern. Final schedule confirmation should be distributed late May through June, and students will have about 2 to 2-ish weeks, maybe 3, depending on how early that comes out, to work with guidance counselors on any specific changes that might need to happen. After June 5th, it will be very hard to change student schedules, and a finalized schedule will come out in probably August before the school year starts. I'm going to leave this up on the screen for a second, and then I'm going to drop the same thing in the chat. This QR code will bring you to a page that has videos from department chairs. It has Ms. Shields' email address on it, which I will put in the chat in a moment. So if we can open up the chat, please. And it will give you a direct link to the guide. I'm also going to put that link hopefully in the chat in a moment, and that the guide link is available right now at cheltenham.org on the high school homepage. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. And if if technology works correctly, please. It actually doesn't look like I can put it in the chat. That was going to be 50-50.
Try again.
So I'm seeing hosts and panelists. I don't know if that's going to everybody. Okay, I'm going to put that QR code back up. Yep, there we go. Thank you. And so that link is in the chat. That concludes this webinar. Ms. Shields' email address is at that top link there. Again, my name is Mark Hoff. If you have any questions that can't be answered by the people that are on that sheet, in fact, let me pull that up so everybody can see it. Share screen. So what you're hopefully, and I see many people are in there, there's over 30 people in there right now. This will give you the course guide for the year. There's Amy's contact information, ashields@easttech.org. And then you'll see some of our department chairs have provided videos. More will be added over the next few days. This is the contact for each department along with our email addresses. And then you'll see some of our subtopics. If you have questions about specific classes, like Ms. Keller is currently our AP seminar teacher, if you have a question about that course. Ms. W is leading our efforts in computer science, and she has a video there about our computer science offerings, both AP offerings and not AP offerings. An overview of that senior internship. Again, we're very excited about what students are doing with that. So this is here. And it will also go onto our guidance website. And so with that, we're going to conclude tonight's presentation. I hope you found this informational. Again, my name is Mark Hoff. I'm going to be contacted at mhoff@cheltenham.org if you have any specific questions that you do not feel can be addressed by the people on the screen. Again, thank you very much, and I hope you all have a good evening.